Fox 40 reporter, producer, the one and only Sean Cunningham. Sean, thanks for joining us here. I want to ask you first thing. I know you've been going to Vegas for Summer League for many years. How much have you seen it grow over the years? How different is it now from maybe the first year you went down to watch the Kings play in the Summer League?
Oh yeah, I mean, what's up, guys? First of all, good to talk to you. Yeah, man, this is like something that's just become almost like All-Star Weekend in a way. Only it lasts like entirely way too long. It just becomes this like gathering spot for all things basketball, not even just NBA. I mean, you've got the business of basketball, everything that surrounds not only the NBA, but, you know, partnerships and international basketball. And you've got free agents out here holding workouts, and the NBA and basketball is just a nonstop business until you get to about, maybe a point in August or September before, unless it's a FIBA international year or something like that. But yeah, man, everyone just like has descended upon Las Vegas. It just becomes a destination, and it's silly in a lot of ways because you have a lot of bad basketball, but you've just got a lot of hoops fans that are just so they just live for this. I know some people that love this element of basketball better than the actual NBA season itself because of the drama of the off season, the possibilities that happen, the movement, the transactions. Like that's just its whole other different type of season. Then you've got the hard knocks feel, which is like these are undrafted free agents. These are guys that you could literally see some of these guys at local YMCAs and pickup games, and maybe neighborhood legends or something like that have kind of made a name for themselves and maybe open up an eye or two and find opportunities all across the globe. So I'll give you an example, not to ramble on too much, but I was at a workout yesterday with something I'm going to release later today. I got to sit down with Harry Giles for about 20 minutes to talk about him hoping to, at 25, pick up his NBA career again. And now he has this new rule that was created by the Players Association, his agent, and even Jason Tatum, his best friend from Duke, that helped create this rule with it because of his injury. He lost some eligibility as a part of a two-way contract. And so now he has two-way eligibility for a team. And joining him there was a guy you guys know, Dion Waiters, trying to land with the team. And it was surreal being in a middle school gym in Las Vegas and watching these guys work out.
Wow. Sean, how to kind of build off Whitey's question there, how we were talking last week about the ticket prices for what Victor Wembanyama's debut was going to be. And, I'm pretty sure the Kings played their first game as Wemby's first game was going on. So I don't know how much of that you actually got to see, but just in terms of the environment that you feel in Vegas, does it feel like this year is something a little bit different with the Victor Wembanyama stuff kind of going on around it?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a key ingredient. I mean, this is arguably, in my opinion, I think it is. It's the most heralded rookie with this much hype in the last 20 years since LeBron James. And I've seen the way people react to him. And let's not forget, like right before Summer League gets underway, you've got the Britney Spears incident with him inside the Aria outside of Catch Restaurant. So I think that even adds a little bit more intrigue. But yeah, I mean, you see Thomas and Max sold out to watch that first game with Wembanyama and Brandon Miller, who obviously people got to see at the California Classic, and it does even even nets a rating as the highest Summer League game ever on ESPN and on television. So yeah, people are incensed. They want to see this guy play, and he kind of stumbled out of the gate in that game with the Hornets, but then follows it up with a really fine performance against the Trailblazers, the game that I was at, and you got to see some of the good and the bad and some of the ugly. And obviously there was quite a bit of good that happened in that, and the crowd just absolutely reacting to it. But it isn't even just the crowd. I mean, you see NBA executives, you see other coaches, they're all, looking at this kid like a alien that's been dropped in the middle, and he's just, everyone's looking at him and they haven't seen anything like him. And even though you've seen tall people before, to have the movement and the range of mobility that he does and the dexterity that he does, it's really impressive.
Sean Cunningham with us, Fox 40 reporter and producer. So along those lines, Sean, what were your first-hand impressions of Wemby, and how did they compare to your first-hand impressions of the Summer League debut of John Brockman?
The Brock Ness monster.
Yeah,
see the very
yeah, because I was there for that. So
he was fantastic. I like to hold the Brock Ness monster into some high, limited space when some people just can't attain that type of acclaim. But man, it's funny. Just like I said, like to see people react. I happened to be at the King's Hotel to introduce Chris Duarte the other day, and waiting. Wembanyama was closest I had been to him, and he comes walking through. And I immediately I asked a stupid question that I get asked a lot by maybe people or casual fans that are absolutely perplexed as to how tall people make their way through life. And I'm like, man, do they have a bed for him at this place? Like, sleep on the floor. But then watching him play, like, you instantly get it. And television, in my opinion, I was telling one of the scouts that I like to talk to was saying, like, it does no justice for him. You see some of the things that he likes to do with the basketball, the handle that he has. You watch him move off ball. It's really entertaining. And watching him warm up, just some of the stuff that he likes to. I mean, he's working on his shot a lot. Like he's in love with the outside shot, even at 7'3", which is 7'3", I think it is. But like, he doesn't stay around the hoop so much. But then in the game, he's able to just grab everything from over people and just put it down again. So he was a monster, man. It was fun to watch.
Sean, I know you've covered Jordan Ford since he was in high school at Folsom. He was a chess prodigy when he was a kid. He's the second highest scorer in St. Mary's history, and now he's having an opportunity to make his childhood favorite team. What is your favorite thing about Jordan Ford and the Jordan Ford story?
Yeah, I really like the fact that he kind of idolizes Steph Curry a lot, and for a guy that doesn't have nearly the story that Steph does, I mean, he put himself around him a great deal. He coming up at St. Mary's, he was introduced to him at a young age, and you can kind of see in the way he plays. There's some you kind of emulate some of his game after it. After Steph, and obviously he doesn't shoot like Steph, but the one thing I think he realized he could really take advantage of, and scouts will say, what's this one guy elite at? Like, if you look at any basketball player, what does he do really, really well? And to me, it's always been his handle, and I thought he had a great handle in high school. I never looked at him and thought, oh, that'll be an NBA player. And I thought it was fun to hear Luke Laux kind of use the story of the Modesto Stockton native Gabe Vincent, who just signed from the Heat to the Lakers and finally got his payday after his really wild journey from undrafted to G League to maybe barely a roster player to actually signing a real contract and then finally getting his payday. And Luke Laux sees that in someone like Jordan Ford, and even honestly, and I might have a little bias after having known him a little bit, but I still didn't think. I thought him being on the Stockton team last year was a huge feather in his cap and something that could propel him forward, and ultimately thinking that maybe he'd be able to sign overseas and have an opportunity there and kind of follow and make some money. But now I think people are looking at him a little bit differently. I think especially with now having another two-way contract available for teams and having the ability to maybe extend more than just a training camp invite to him, and even possibility of being a third or fourth guard on a team, I think might be the next step in his evolution. And certainly I feel is more possible than ever. And I didn't really think that could be a possibility a year from now. And seeing just the steps he took and Stockton's success, I think really stands out. It's not just, it goes beyond stats. Like, he's kind of a winning player. And you watch what he did with the Stockton Kings last year and some of the familiarity he has. And if you've watched maybe some of the early summer league games here in Vegas, not necessarily the classic, but some of that two-way familiarity he's had with some of those guys like Comanche and Keita certainly stands out. So I think everyone looks to him as a leader. He had a little bit of a taste with the Clippers, and he's eager to kind of build off of what he experienced with the Clippers and move that forward. And I heard people from the Clippers literally last night who they played, and granted that game was dreck. It was one of the worst summer league games you'll ever watch, but
terrible.
There were people from the Clippers just saying, man, he's really taken a lot of strides in the 2 years since he was there. So fun to see. I didn't look at him once as an NBA player. He may be. He actually might be.
Hey, Sean, we appreciate your time. Before we let you go, one more here. How pleased do you think the Kings are to this point with what they've seen from Colby Jones?
Well, I think they have to be thrilled. I mean, especially as a second-round pick, to see a guy who comes in and really plays a style of basketball where it's rare when you can see a guy like that and go, I can see where he can fit, not even on a roster, but even possibility of being like an actual rotational piece. Like I can see him, not only hitting a shot, bringing the ball up court, having a little bit of a playmaking ability, but his rebounding to me has been really impressive. So to me, I mean, certainly there's a lot of room to grow, and the NBA will probably be a huge jump for him. But yeah, I see it. I see why Monty McNair called him one of the top two-way players in the draft. I've heard a ton of people say that they're floored he went to the second round, and yeah, he's been a lot of fun, Whitey. I honestly think I can't wait for a training camp, because if he can build off of this, I thought he was sensational last night. Maybe it was because he was the diamond in the rough of how bad that game was, but boy, he was super impressive. I've been impressed by him, and I like his demeanor. He's got a kind of a pro demeanor already. He doesn't have these like wide eyes and wow, this is the NBA, and he's kind of taken by the glitz and the glamour. He feels like he belongs, and he looks really comfortable.
Sean, we appreciate it, brother. Thanks for your time. We'll talk to you again soon. Have fun in Vegas.
All right, anytime, guys. Take care.
Sean
Bye,
Cunningham,
Sean.
Fox 40 reporter and producer. Coming up next, draft days is coming up. Chris and I compete to draft the best teams of players in honor of Wembanyama with the longest last names. We've got rules, all right? We've got ground rules. It's a competition.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got rules
You
about
think you're ready,
hyphenation.
but are you ready?
I'm definitely
yeah, we'll
ready.
get to the
I'm
hyphenation rules. Next, draft days is coming up next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.